But I was impressed, man. Like I said, I think that it was impressive to see that he had the most education and he went that route. The one thing I would like to have heard him talk a little bit about too, man, is like when he came to salvation, like how did that have a play a role
Mm.
to switch things up for him too? Like what
Okay.
where did that take him to as far as a father? So that was very
Mhm.
interesting though. But I did enjoy listening to him talk and seeing exactly how instrumental he was in his children's lives, man. That was crazy when he was saying, yeah, we went out to Philly and I brought up a report back to everybody else. I'm like, really? So I thought that was impressive. That was impressive.
Yeah, yeah. This is a machine shop guy who's president of the PTA during the day and machine shop guy at night. So, yeah. Horace.
Yeah, I think, like I said, what stood out to me was like just that whole desire that it was already embedded in him to want to be a man. You know, I got this
Mm.
family, I got this desire. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times it's the opposite, especially when we're talking about black men,
Mm.
about wanting to be there for their children and be a man and be about being father. Because the myth is that we don't care, that we not trying to be, we running from being a father. And the fact that he was like, you know what, no, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be about my family and those type of things. That stood out to me because I know as myself as a young, there
Mhm.
were a few examples, and when I saw men, I gravitated towards them, and I was like almost was envious of some of my friends who had that father figure, and you know
Me
you were
too.
blessed. You were
Me
blessed to
too,
have
bro.
a man in your life. Yeah, I had some friends. I'm like, man, your father taking you fishing. I ain't had no father taking me fishing.
Yeah.
Even he could have been the worst fisherman in the world, but
He
I would have
was.
Right.
been gladly. I would have been happy to go. You know what I'm saying? And that part. So almost not to be. The Bible tells us we shouldn't be, but I was a little envious of the fact that you
Me too.
had a godly man who
I
was
too.
because I know I didn't have that, and then it also too as I was listening, kind of gave me a little fire. I almost shed a little tear too, but
That's
because
good.
it's like
Yeah. It
because you're like,
encouraged me
man,
too. Yeah.
as I'm saying, I want to like it make me even more stronger. Like what I'm trying to do with my children. Hey, because sometimes it's hard, man. Because it's sometimes you be wanting to, you know what, forget this. But when you
Yeah.
see examples of other men who've been there, done that, it's you know what, there is a reward. You got to hang in there because sometimes I'll be feeling like that prodigal son father, like when his son was probably talking all that trash and talking about give me that money, old man, because that's what he
Yeah.
said. He ain't say it
Yeah.
nicely.
No, he said nice.
He ain't say it nicely. Get up, old man, like he holding him up like he a robber or something. And then, but to still maintain that love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna look out for my man. But that's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. The love that I sense that your father had for you and stuff. Like I said, I was a little envious.
One of one of the reasons I wanted to do this show a long time ago was because, look, listen, man, I'm going to be real honest. We take advantage of things we have. Let me just go ahead and say that. Okay. And the older I get, though, you look back and realize, oh, shoot, you realize what you have. And it's, man, it's almost like I got to get this on wax. Remember how people used to say that?
Yeah.
And you appreciate that because I remember growing up, we used to grow up in Chatham Gardens. If you're in Rochester area, maybe you know what that is. If you're
All
not, then
right.
you won't know. But I remember when he would come home from work, he would have his little lunch bag or whatever, and he'd be whistling or singing as he's coming home from work. Now, mind you, where I live, it'd be like all these boys, we out playing football or whatever we're doing out there. There's a whole bunch of them. And it was only like about two dads out of that whole area. Everybody else had
Right.
mamas. But I recognized that. And I'm like, dang. Because I remember it was me and it was the Hogans. I remember the Hogans. And my friends Derek, and he had a big family. It was like maybe it seemed like 7 boys or whatever, and maybe a sister. But it was Mr. Hogan and his wife and all them boys, and then it was us. And everybody else was pretty much just mamas. And I realized that when my dad would get out the car and walk home, walk to the house, that everybody was looking at him. And it was in some cases, they was like, really, really respected him and all that. And I'm like, yeah, that's just my dad. But at the same time, as you look back at that, you realize, oh shoot. And
You
so,
took it for
yeah,
granted.
you
Right.
do. You take it for granted.
You ain't realized what you had.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the special.
because look at it though. Right now, the statistic in Rochester right now, the big thing is that and I'm working with some people trying to help out, but Rochester came in 26% with fathers in the household, the lowest in the country.
Oh wow.
The lowest in the country, absolutely. And I got the statistics to prove it. Yeah, it's a fact. So 1 out of 4 homes have a father in it in the city of Rochester.